From Sci News, new species of theropod dinosaur discovered in Mongolia. From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Now, let's dive into the news. Paleontologists have identified a new species of dromaeosaur dinosaur from an almost complete and articulated skeleton found in the 2000s in Mongolia. Well, this is good to hear because I'm guessing this is late Cretaceous, so somewhere around possibly 71 to 75 million years ago. And here we only have maybe one or two distinct species of dromaeosaurid, including Velociraptor mongoliensis, found in this region. Life reconstruction of Shri Rapox. Well, that's a unique name. The newly identified dinosaur roamed our planet during the Campanian age of the Cretaceous period, between 75 and 72 million years ago. Okay, so I was correct on this, and it seems to be a bit more robust than what we find in Velociraptor. Velociraptor is a very long, thin, narrow snout. So let me know in the comments if you think this animal might be a major competitor for Velociraptor. Based on several derived features in its skull, vertebrae, and skeleton, the species is referable to a group of bird like theropod dinosaurs called the Dromaeosauridae. So, many do not know this, but the dromaeosaurs actually evolved back in the Jurassic, so over 146 million years ago. And yeah, this is taking place during the late Cretaceous Campanian age. Named Shri rapox, it is only the second species in its genus. The other species, Shri devi, was described in 2021. Oh, I forgot about this individual. This must be the other secondary species that I was thinking of. Dromaeosauridae is a clade of small to medium-sized theropod dinosaurs known from several Cretaceous units from North America, Asia, Europe, South America, and eventually Antarctica and Madagascar. Just to remind everybody, Madagascar is an island and is part of the continent of Africa and is not its own distinct continent. Also, when it comes to, actually, let's take a look at this. Feather like um, tegmentary structures, true uh, Pinnocuous feathers and remnants of the digestive tract are found in exceptionally preserved dromaeosaurs from the lower Cretaceous Jehol biota of northeastern China, including animals such as Darlong wengai, Cyanornithosaurus malini, Microraptor zoanus. Well, the thing is that these animals existed in China far before animals like Shri or Velociraptor would have evolved. These animals would have existed somewhere around 125 million years ago and were also much smaller than these dromaeosaurids. Along with troodontids, dromaeosaurids are universally considered as the closest relatives of birds among dinosaurs. Yes, this is very true. Larger species of or larger groups of theropods and even other distinct smaller ones are a bit more distantly related to birds, but usually the smaller groups, such as the troodontids, dromaeosaurs, are the closest living relative to birds. Okay, so an almost complete skeleton of Shri rapox was likely found in the Dahodokta formation of Mongolia. Oh, okay. So this is also adjacent to the Limuetia formation over in, I believe, possibly China. And you have members of the Alvarezsauridae lineage of theropods in the area, such as Linonicus. This animal was somewhere around 3 to 6 feet in length, or 1 to 2 meters, and probably weighed somewhere around 30 to 40 pounds, and was mostly feeding on different species of insects in the region. And for the most part, it would have been covered in feathers. Now, what's interesting is you see here it only has one distinct claw. But looking at, or more recent studies have shown that different species of alvarezsaurids, or also known as the mononychids, have actually been shown to have four distinct digits, though at least two of them were covered by skin. And the second one, in some cases, was somewhat protruding. Definitely for Linonicus, there was the second digit. Also in the region, you had different species of ankylosaurs, such as Pinacosaurus, which was one of the larger herbivores in the region. This ankylosaurid first, well, The ankylosaurs in general, the true ankylosaurs, first evolved somewhere around 97 million years ago. And this animal reached somewhere around 16 feet in length or around 5 meters and reached a weight of 2 tons. It was quite heavy for its overall length. It's very heavy in Kylosaur and um, quite heavily built like Ankylosaurus and even Euoplocephalus that would show up later. Well, Ankylosaurus would show up later in the Cretaceous. Over North America, Euoplocephalus had already evolved. And here is a reconstruction of of the skull of a young Panocosaurus. Let's continue. This dromaeosaurus specimen was illegally poached before 20. Didn't know you could illegally poach a fossil. So, was it just standing out in the fossil graveyard and someone shot it with a I don't know what to say. Anyway, then retained in private collections in Japan and England before being acquired by the French company Aldonia. Well, this is interesting. The exact locality, I guess that's nothing new between three countries. The exact locality of the specimen is unknown. Based on the documentation associated with the specimen, we tentatively refer it to Uka Tugad, Mongolia. Wow, that is a very well intact specimen of Shrai, Rapak specifically. It's very well done. It's very likely it was covered in feathers. Might have been like a 40-pound individual. Shrai Rapax had a peculiar combination of vertebral and pelvic features as well as exceptionally robust hands. The most unusual feature of Shrai Rapax is the exceptional robustness of the hand. Yeah, this is it. This is interesting because animals like Velociraptor are not very robust. They're actually quite delicately built, though there is still evidence for them hunting larger species of herbivores in the region, at least compared to themselves, such as Protoceratops. Protoceratops was a member of the Protoceratopsidae lineage of ceratopsians, but which is the same family that animals such as Triceratops and Styracosaurus would belong to. However, the ceratopsids only existed for about 4 million years. So around 75 million years they first evolved, and then 71 million years ago they happened to go extinct, along with the predators that hunted them, such as Velociraptor. Now, this right here is a well preserved area of just a large number of Protoceratops youngsters that happen to be buried alive. And Protoceratops reached a length of somewhere around 8 to 9 feet or a little less than 3 meters and probably weighed close to 230 pounds or a little over, let's see, 120 kilograms. This animal was also an herbivorous who was feeding on different species of flowers and ferns in the region. Also, many interpretations of the area that Protoceratops inhabited in documentaries has showed to be just a plain desert region. And there would have been probably areas with a somewhat desert look, but there would have been also these distinct ecosystems within the area of Mongolia and even northern China that would have supplied a large amount of vegetation for herbivores 20 times the size of this animal. I'm talking different species of sauropods and therizinosaurs in the region that would have fed on all that lush vegetation. And then animals like Protoceratops would have had to have been concerned about Velociraptor. But unlike in the Jurassic Parks or Jurassic Worlds, this animal only reached somewhere around 6 feet in length and barely stood 2 feet tall. It is possible that it's quite probable that this animal hunted in packs like different species of dromaeosaurs. But as you see, it has a very long and thin, narrow snout. But it had quite sharp teeth, and they were pointed backwards much more than what you see in different species of even dromaeosaurs in general. Like if you look at earlier Cretaceous species like Deinonychus, they are quite curved back, unlike larger species of theropods, but not to the same extent like Velociraptor. So this animal was very capable of shredding off flesh quickly too. Other theropods probably had to struggle a little bit, or at least put some more force into it. And yes, it was very likely to be covered in feathers. It's very possible that the feathers might have reached the ankle bones, but this is not something that you would see on certain animals that Velociraptor would have hunted, such as the ornithomimids like Gallimimus, which was in the first Jurassic Park. But in reality, it would have been much longer and also probably covered in feathers. Oh, so this is a member of the Horonini lineage of oviraptorids from this region. This is Machairosaurus. And it was a smaller species. This animal didn't reach much more than 1.5 meters or around 5 feet in length and probably weighed somewhere around 20 to 25 pounds or a little over 10 kilograms. It's probably feeding on different species of insects, maybe even flowers in the region, so it's most likely an omnivore. So, in particular, when scaled to the same length, all elements of the pollex are approximately 150% transversely more robust than the homologous elements in other Dihocton dromaeosaurs and proportionally stouter than any other dromaeosaurid. Wow. Okay. So, this was a very um, heavily built dromaeosaurid. Um, so yeah, let me know in the comments if you think this animal would have frequently hunted animals like Protoceratops, maybe even younger Therizinosaurs, or even Ankylosaurs in the region. We suggest that frequent interactions with the ceratopsians. Oh, well, still tell me in the comments. It's just it mentioned what I said. Combined with active anti-predatory behavior by the latter, it could had promoted the evolution of more robust forearms and stockier hands among some Hodoctin velociraptorans. If we assume that Shri rapox shared the predatory behavior of its close relative Velociraptor mongoliensis, the more robust proportions of its hands imply that it was better adapted to target larger, more robust prey than those usually preyed on by a velociraptor. Okay, was there somebody? Oh, right. There's also the troodontid in the region, called Philovenator. This animal was one of the smallest troodontids to exist. Um, this animal might have only reached somewhere around 70 centimeters or a little over 26 inches in length, and possibly weighed somewhere around 9 to 11 pounds. It was very small, probably feeding on different species of insects. Well, troodontids in general tend to be remarked as omnivores, but they probably had a much more carnivorous diet. Also, these ear tufts. So these aren't its ears; they're just distinct ear feathers. It's very possible certain species of dromaeosaur might have had them, considering they are close related to birds. But this might have been used during courtship during the breeding season. If you look at different species of prairie chickens or grouse today in different parts of North America, even like the horned owls, there's a wide variety of bird species, certain puffins, possibly penguins. They have the ability to move these distinct feathers and it helps attract mates during the breeding season. There are also different ways of communicating with these tuft, ear, ear tufts. Anyway, let me know in the comments. By the way, this is great that we found a very robust dromaeosaurid. But from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.